Hello, and welcome to my franchise review for Hocus Pocus. For this Halloween season, I will be watching some Halloween classics and other horror films. I want to start out with a bit of a disclaimer that this was my first time viewing both of these movies, so my opinion may be controversial since I don't have the embedded nostalgia for the original. Without any further ado, let's get into these reviews. After moving to Salem, Massachusetts, teenager Max Dennison explores an abandoned house with his sister Danny and their new friend Allison. After dismissing a story Allison tells as superstitious, Max accidentally frees a coven of evil witches who used to live in the house. Now, with the help of a magical cat, the kids must steal the witch's book of spells to stop them from becoming immortal. This is available for streaming on Disney Plus in Canada and the US. I found the opening score quite reminiscent of Batman '89 until it shifts to its own witchy style. I found the beginning gave off perfectly cheesy Halloween vibes that fit very well for a movie that's geared towards children and teens and families, as it's a Disney film. Once you get into the present day, or 1993 when this film was released, it just lost all of its momentum for me and bored me. The Sanderson sisters just weren't as entertaining for me when they were removed from the 1600s. I also found the kids very stereotypical of their time and just annoying. This movie only redeems itself in the end, but it was too little, too late. It's one of those movies that perfectly fits a time and age, and once you've passed it, it can't hit as hard. I think some kids would still enjoy it, and those who grew up with this film would probably enjoy it if they had enjoyed it before as well. But if you were introduced to it at my age, it just isn't worth the hype. That's part of the reason why I haven't watched any of the Harry Potter movies since my mother forbade me from watching them while growing up, and now I have no interest in visiting those films and can assume I would come out of them exactly like how I came out of this film. I rated this a 2.5 out of 5, but only because I could see some of the sparks that others enjoy from this film. Otherwise, it would have been a 2 out of 5. Now let's move on to the sequel that was just recently released, Hocus Pocus 2. It's been 29 years since someone lit the black flame candle and resurrected the 17th century sisters when two young women accidentally bring back the Sanderson sisters to modern-day Salem, and they are looking for revenge. Now it's up to them and their friends to stop the ravenous witches from wreaking a new kind of havoc on Salem before dawn on All Hallows Eve. This is available for streaming on Disney Plus in Canada and the US, and it's a Disney Plus original. I was much more entertained by this movie than the original. I found it to be better plotted, funnier, and it gave us more of the Sanderson sisters than the original. It's a nostalgia play sequel that surprisingly refreshes the callbacks and effectively brings in a new audience, in my opinion. It still has its flaws, but you have to understand that this is a movie geared towards kids and teenagers of today, like the original was in its time, while at the same time they're trying to satisfy an older audience of fans that grew up with this film, whether they were or weren't born upon the original release. Whether they were successful at capturing both audiences is up for debate. But the main thing is, whether you enjoy the original more or the sequel more, you are entitled to your own opinion, and I respect you either way. There is a post-credit scene, and I hope they don't take that as an opportunity to make a third, despite my enjoyment of this film, because I don't know where else they could go in the present day other than with our young witches. If they did make another film, I think they should go with a prequel of the young witches in the 1600s. They already have the casting for these characters, and they can easily use them again, and I think it could work. Some spoilery thoughts about the film. I've seen criticisms about how they did too much callbacks to the original, such as the non-broom flying and singing twisted versions of classic songs. I think Mary using the Roombas to fly was an interesting choice and a way to differentiate it from when they did it in 1993. They also didn't have any chords to worry about like in the original. The Roombas were well integrated and served a purpose more than just being a joke. I also thought that the twisted song was one of the better parts of the original, and in this film, they are again really fun, and there were more of them. I also found that the characters of Winifred Billy Butcherson, and even Book were more fleshed out and able to grow in this film rather than being one-dimensional characters. I rated this a 4 out of 5. Thank you for watching. If you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you want to see more from me, hit the subscribe button. If you have any recommendations, trivia, or thoughts about these films, please leave a comment down below. My next video will be a director review that I already filmed for David Fincher, and I actually planned on releasing that one before this one, so just had to change up the schedule because I didn't want to put this one out too much after the release of the sequel. Hopefully I can get a more consistent video release schedule since I'm not traveling for a while, but I'm also trying to complete my Criterion Challenge with 34 movies to go before the end of the year, so a lot of stuff going on, but hopefully I can get more videos out to you and not take a month break like I just did. Thanks again for watching, and...
Oh, come on, it's just a bunch of hocus pocus.